It was a calm, golden morning in Maple Ridge, a quiet little town that rarely saw excitement. The soft hum of the countryside was suddenly shattered by the growl of engines rolling down the highway. One after another, the motorcycles roared into view, their chrome gleaming under the sun as they pulled into the gravel lot of a roadside diner. The sound was so deep it made the window panes tremble. Locals paused mid-sip, their forks frozen halfway to their mouths, as the group of leather-clad bikers took over the parking lot. Among them was a man who needed no introduction, Rex Malone, the gang's leader. His presence alone carried the kind of power that silenced a room. Rex had the rough edges of a man who'd seen too much, the kind of face carved by wind, scars, and regret. Some whispered his name with fear, others with respect, but no one truly knew the man behind those storm gray eyes. If you believe that kindness often hides in unexpected hearts, and that second chances can come from the most unlikely souls, then please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe to heart-touching stories, where compassion still has a voice. Inside the diner, the cheerful clinking of plates faded as the bikers filled the booths. The waitress on duty moved quietly from table to table. Her name tag read Mara. She looked to be around 30, her hair tied neatly, her smile polite but wary, like someone who had learned to wear happiness as armor. When she leaned forward to pour Rex's coffee, the morning light caught something beneath her makeup, a faint bruise along her jawline. It was small, but unmistakable, the kind that no amount of powder could truly hide. Rex's eyes darkened. He'd seen that look before. It stirred something buried deep, a memory he had tried to forget, a woman he once loved, a woman he couldn't save. Mara's hands trembled slightly as she set his cup down. She didn't look him in the eye. But Rex saw everything, the hesitation, the fear, the exhaustion. Outside, the sky had begun to gray, and a light wind tossed dust across the lot. The other bikers laughed and joked, but Rex stayed silent, his focus fixed on Mara. Then he saw it, the manager's glare from behind the counter. The man barked an order, his tone sharp, his stare filled with quiet cruelty, and in that instant, Rex understood, this wasn't stress, this was fear. Later that afternoon, as the diner emptied, Rex stayed behind, pretending to finish his coffee. The manager brushed past Mara, slamming into her shoulder hard enough to make her spill a drink. She whispered an apology, and his reply came back like poison. Sharp, humiliating, meant to hurt. Rex's jaw clenched. He'd seen enough. That night Rex sat alone in his garage, surrounded by the soft hum of engines and the flicker of neon lights. His crew laughed somewhere in the background, but he wasn't listening. His mind kept returning to that bruise, that trembling voice, that silent plea for help. He'd failed once before. He wouldn't fail again. By dawn, his decision was made. When Mara arrived early the next morning, she was startled to see the same row of motorcycles parked outside the diner. The chrome caught the first light of day like fire. Rex sat at the counter waiting. When she approached, he spoke softly, "You okay?" Her smile came too quickly. "Of course," she whispered. But before she could turn away, Rex's voice came again. Low, calm, but unshakably firm. "You don't have to lie." Her breath caught. For a moment, silence stretched between them, and then the tears came. Quiet, uncontrollable, real. The manager appeared from the kitchen, furious, ready to shout. But the moment he saw Rex rise, the anger drained from his face. Rex didn't shout. He didn't need to. His calm was more terrifying than fury. He stepped closer, his voice even and cold. "You think hurting someone weaker makes you strong. It doesn't. It makes you small." The manager tried to push back, but behind Rex stood a dozen bikers, their eyes locked on him. The message was clear. The man muttered curses and stormed out, the door swinging shut behind him. For a moment, the diner was utterly still. Then Mara whispered, "Thank you." Rex simply nodded. "You don't owe anyone thanks," he said gently. "Just start again." Without fear. The crowd that had watched in silence moments earlier began to stir. One elderly man started clapping softly, and soon the whole diner joined in. A quiet, heartfelt applause that echoed like a heartbeat through the room. Word spread fast. By evening, the story had swept through Maple Ridge. The bikers who were once feared became heroes in a single day. People saw them not as outlaws anymore, but as guardians of kindness. Mara soon left that diner and found a new job in a cozy cafe across town, where the owner treated her with respect. Every now and then, Rex would stop by for coffee, not as a savior, but as a friend checking in. And each time, her smile reached her eyes a little more. But the story didn't just change Mara, it changed Rex too. For years, he'd lived behind the walls of guilt and regret. But helping her broke something open inside him. It reminded him that even the roughest hands can still offer warmth. His biker brothers noticed too. The club began organizing charity rides for women's shelters, food drives, and community projects. What began as one quiet act of courage soon became a movement that softened an entire town. Months later, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Mara stood outside the new diner, now under kind management, and watched a familiar line of motorcycles thunder past. Rex raised a hand as he rode by, a silent nod of understanding, of friendship, of shared healing. She smiled, her heart full, because sometimes kindness doesn't wear a halo. Sometimes it rides in on two wheels, clad in leather, carrying a heart that has known pain and still chooses compassion. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Heart-Touching Stories, where real emotions meet real humanity. Before you go, tell us in the comments, do you believe even the toughest people can have the softest hearts? And as Maple Ridge watched the sunset fade, the town remembered that day, not for the roar of engines, but for the quiet after, when kindness finally spoke louder than fear.